Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Teresa and I'm the car boot crafter, and today I've been in the craft room playing with these dies. I bought them on eBay for about 3.50, something like that, and I thought I'd have a play because these I have very little Halloween crafty goodies. So I'm going to try and start building my Halloween stash. And these were probably one of the first things that I've bought so far. So I thought I'd have a play. So I did the first one. I just did it without doing anything other than cutting it out and gluing it together. So that's the first one. Let me get a bit of, it might be better if I put some paper behind it. You can see how it cuts out really well, but you do have to fiddle a lot with it. And then I did this one, which is putting some oh, what's it called, this stuff, vellum, putting some vellum behind it, which I think works really well. And I'm going to pop a little battery operated tea candle in there, I think, and then I can pop these on my window ledge in the living room for Halloween. I think they'll give a really nice glow. And as you can see, it does cut out some very intricate, the spiders and the skulls, cut those out really well. But I do have to say, you have to fiddle. Now, I've been using, to cut these out, I have been using my Cuttlebug, which doesn't do me wrong. It goes through everything, it cuts out most things, and it did cut these out. But what I had to do was I had to put them through one at a time. And so I put them through once, and that cut the outside. So that gave me the outside without the detail in the middle. Those were all still very firmly in. So what I then had to do was I then had to pop it back into the die and run it through several times again. And at one point I had to put a little paper shim in round the detail there. The spiders work came out lovely, but the spiders themselves were a bit fiddly, so I put a paper shim there, and the same with the skulls. Not quite as bad, but the spiders were the fiddly bit. And then I had to sit for absolute ages and push them all out, mainly by hand. And as I look, I can see there's still a couple of little bits in there, one there and one in the spider there. Yeah, so very time consuming doing that. And then, so I thought I'd make this one up on camera with you guys, so that you, if you've got them or if you want to get them, just to give you sort of the heads up of my experience with them. So you need to cut out two of each size. So you've got two of the one with the skulls on and two of the ones with the spiders on. And I am aware that there are several different versions out there which have got different things in the middle, but I imagine they're going to be the same. So with the one without the tags on, decide which is your front, and that very clearly is mine. And then at the bottom, at the base, you're going to fold, no, let's go back a step. I then took my bone folder, the one with a fairly narrow edge, and then scored all the way along those. They're already sort of scored in there, as you can see. That you've got those sort of perforations, but I found I needed to go over them again with the bone folder to get them to fold well, because otherwise it was just so fiddly and they didn't fold particularly well. Had a couple that fold. There's a few, I've put quite a few in the bin, if I'm honest with you, because what I found was the reason I had to cut them one at a time was that they jumped. I had several that had jumped with me, on me, sorry, when I put them through, the two of them together. And even though they looked like they hadn't done much damage, it was enough because you've got such a little tab there that any that you're missing, or any on the side here that you're missing, you can tell once you start to make them up. So those went into the bin. So with this one at the bottom, so you want to fold forward at the bottom, and I only think I didn't reinforce because you need them to sit proud, and then you fold the legs back, so like a zigzag fold like that. And just say I want to go and reinforce those score lines, but I found if you don't, it just sits a bit better. Then bring them back, and then with the top you're going to fold that one back, so the first one back, and then this little square you're going to fold forward, and then you've got the tag at the top which you're going to fold back. So again, you've got a sort of zigzag going on, and this actually helps to bring some of those smaller pieces out as well. Again, with the bigger one, you need to go round with your bone folder or whatever you use to reinforce those score lines, and do exactly the same, especially on these long ones down the sides and the top and bottom, because those need to be fairly accurate when you are scoring them. I found like, because this comes to sort of a, it's not sharp, but it comes to a bit of a point, it just naturally follows those bumps, those perforations. So I didn't I did use my ruler a couple of times, but then I found I didn't need to. So just reinforcing all of those. And you must, what I found as well is a couple of times I'd missed a couple of the folds, and what happened was, when I then came to put together, I was like, what's going on? Why isn't this folding properly? Doesn't take a lot, but just running it down a couple of times really helped to reinforce those score lines, and then when you fold them they work so much better. So there you go. And again with this one, deciding if that's the front, then you're going to fold the bottom up, and then the very bottom one back down, so you've got a zigzag going on. Then just fold those little tags back a little bit. I didn't even bother to fold them back too, reinforce them too much, because you do need them to sit at that 90-degree angle. And then the sides, now the sides were very fiddly, because you've got this long bit, and you do need to fold that up. So just very carefully, I took my time, and doing the scoring with the score tool really helped. So fold that up, and then I folded it back down again because I'm going to glue that soon. And then the same this side, just being careful that you're not ripping the design inside or crushing it in any way. So I've folded them back, and then I've pulled them out again. And the top one, because this is the top of the lantern, you're going to fold that back, because that needs to fold, sit back at that sort of angle. Then with the square at the top, bring that in, and the same with these little tags at the side. Just very carefully encourage them to fold over, and then pull them back out again, because because I'm going to be gluing them again in a minute. So, and then both sides. Now I really like these, and they are fiddly, and they've taken a lot to sort of put together. But and the other thing is, so I'll just try and get those out. The other thing is, on the photograph, on because I got these off eBay, on the photograph, on the top of the lantern, there's another piece that sits above that, and that didn't come with it. The die to cut that shape out didn't come with it. So I'm a bit flummoxed really, because it's going to take a bit of maths, I guess, to work that one out. So I'm just going to leave them like that. I think they look fine. But I did go back to the original listings and it says 2 dies and I've got 2 dies. So I guess that's not with them at all, really. So I'm just going to flatten those dies back out again. Sorry, those pieces back out again, and then I'm going to bring in and I had to use the very fine tip on this because I found anything else was too wide. So just running a bead. Now I've already done my first one, so unless you want it to be a bit sort of lopsided, you have to make sure you do the same again. So I've got my spiders this side and my skulls that side, so that's fine, that will work. So I'm just going to run the glue all the way along there like that, and I'm going to pop that on, and you have to be very careful to line up the edge here and this crease there as well, so very carefully. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to buff it up so that it's next to but not on that that score line there. So I'm butting it up to the score line but not right on it because we need it to fold round. So fortunately this glue doesn't grab very quickly, so I'm just going to put that on there to hold it while it sets. So I've already done this one and I've just noticed that spider hasn't got all of its bits pushed out. There's so much to do, and I've got one of those these but it just didn't really work with this, but we'll see. Now what I did was I've measured, so each one of these is 4 centimetres, and I did it in centimetres just because for the accuracy. So each one of these is 4 centimetres, so there's 4 of them, so that's 16 centimetres. So I've gone to 16.5 centimetres, and then I've just folded it in half with a very little lip there. I hope you can see. But I hope it's going to work, fingers crossed. And then I've folded each piece in half and that one down with the lip as well, just to make sure. Excuse me. Because what I did was I glued the vellum inside first before I made it up, because if you can imagine trying to now fit the vellum in there is going to be really fiddly. So while it was flat, I glued the vellum on. That's not quite set, but let's see if we can give it a go. So now what I'm going to do is glue these two together. So let's get my glue down the tag on this one very carefully down there. There we go, and I'll have to flip it over on time, be easier to see what I'm doing, and then pop that on there, and again buffing it up to the score mark but not going on to the score mark, just slightly to the side of it, and making sure that I'm lining up these score line here and this score line here very carefully. There we go. Trying to line up 3 lines all at the same time, it's not very easy. Hold on, there we go. Right, let's pop that on there for now. And yeah, so that's that. There's lots of these on eBay and on AliExpress, so I won't bother leaving the link below because I'm sure you'll find them, and there are different sorts. Excuse me, including I'm sure some Christmas ones. So yeah, I'm sure you'll find them if you have a look, or just put in Christmas or Halloween lanterns. So I'm going to flip that over now, and I'm going to use my glue again, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a line of glue all the way around the outside of each panel, and then do some in the middle as well, just to sort of hold it in place. It's much easier where you've got things like the skulls, just because they're a bigger, you know, you can just dot your glue on there or do it across some of the window panels as well. So all the way around. I'm going to do all of them first, and then I'm going to put my vellum on, and hopefully it'll all hold in place so that I can then do the next bit. So yeah, so I'm going to do a few of these and put them in the living room with some of those nice tea lights, which I'm sure I've got a few in my crafty stash somewhere. Yeah, like I say, I don't do an awful lot of Halloween crafting, but I think I might just start. I've been inspired by some of the fabulous things that I've been seeing on YouTube, some of the fabulous journals and books and Halloween decorations, just fabulous. So I might just start. So I'm going to bring in my vellum and very carefully line that up. What I want to do is to go over the edge onto this panel here, which is the edge of the lantern, while making sure that fold goes down there as well. So let's see, and covering the whole of the window. There we go. The problem with vellum is it takes a while for it to glue down, doesn't it? So it doesn't absorb the glue in the same way that some other papers do. So yeah, I'm right on the edge of that panel there, so hopefully that's going to work. Maybe see, the panels, these sides aren't very wide, otherwise I would use double-sided tape to glue them down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is very carefully bring in the two edges, because I need to now glue that that there as well. If I fold it like that, I know now we've got a nice square going on. So I'm just going to lift that up ever so slightly and run the glue down that panel there very carefully. Could do with some really, if you've got some really tacky quick grab glue, then I think that would be the best, but fortunately all I've got is the regular craft PVA with me. Okay, and then, oh yeah, too soon, just carry on smoothing that down, and hopefully it'll grab. So let's see if I can open it to the square. Yeah, right. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a peg on there. Where did I put my pegs? Put that on the top there, and that's not going to work, is it? Push it that way round and see if that will work. Okay, so now what I want to do is to work on the bottom, on the feet of it. So I'm going to fold everything back out again, and so I've got this one here has got the tags on it, and this one here has got the tags on it. So I'm just going to make sure that I've folded all of those tags in. I think if I was doing this off camera, well, I know if I wasn't doing this on camera, I would leave my lantern to sit for a while to make sure it's completely dry before doing this bit. But hey ho, when you don't edit videos. This is the things that you need to do, but I think yeah, something I'm going to look into, I think. So now, so I've got that tag there, and I've got that little bend there that I need to put a little tiny bit of glue on. So I definitely put pegs on these. So it's just about trying to like, you can't do it flat because that just won't work. You have to work with the folds. So I folded it up and then brought the bottom two together and lined them up, and that sort of brought that one in as well, that piece there. But then I'm going to, if I can juggle it, I'm going to peg that, just with a very little peg, just to hold it while that dries, because I need that to dry level. Oh, apologies. Right, so I'm going to do the same on all four. So fold that back, pop those in, line that up. Some corners are easier than others. Now I've got some pegs down here somewhere. Line that up and hold it. Then I'm going to bring my other peg in. So what I need to do is have it at a 90-degree angle so that it will then hold. And once you've done the bottom, it holds it square much better. So you start to see the shape. So again, pop that on there, hold it for a minute, and bring another peg in, and oops, as long as I make sure it's at a 90-degree angle, that should, it's very, like I say, it's very, very fiddly. They are a little bit smaller than I thought they were going to be, if I'm totally honest with you. I thought they would be a tiny bit bigger, and I do think if these dies had been made on one, you know, in one, so instead of having two dies you had one, I think that would have worked better, if I'm totally honest as well, and perhaps wouldn't have been quite so fiddly. Okay, so last one, put the glue on there and there, and I've run out of pegs, so I'm going to use a little bulldog clip to hold it square. So pop that on like that. Now I would normally, again, I would normally leave this to dry in between, especially as I say, I haven't got that quick grab glue. But let's move on to do the top now. And it's exactly the same. You've got the two, that one's got the tags on and that one's got the tags on. So I just pushed everything out of the way, made sure that those square bits on the top were pushed all the way back so that they were completely out the way as well. Folded in those tags there, and then added my glue. And again, I found with this that I added the glue and put them in place, but when I started to glue the top, that's where the shape came together. So it doesn't take long. I think the hardest bit was probably cutting out the dies, making sure I had all those bits out, and then it's fiddly putting it together, but it's quite quick, as you can see. So bringing in those two sides, bring in that bit as well, and then what I found was that I used my pokey tool, whoops, to push those tags open like that, so that they just grab on there. So you need another set of hands, I think, really, to do this. It's just such a fiddly job to do. And then once the glue's sort of on all pieces, whoops, they're not set, but that didn't matter because what I found was if I held it, you have to have good dexterity. If I held it like this and then put the glue on those square top bits, so there's that one and then there's this one, it's got those square tops, so there's those tags done, and fold them in. What happens is when you then hold the square together, it holds the whole of that roof together. Let's get that tucked in. Fold that in and fold that in. So if anyone's got any suggestions as to how I can work out how to do the sort of peak at the top, I would really appreciate that. So yeah, I then found if I just hold that, everything else comes together and starts to set. So you're only holding the very top of the lantern. So I can probably take these pegs off now. Yeah, those are all holding and set. And this shouldn't take much longer to set. But there you go. That's the those lanterns, which I've seen every time I look on eBay, especially if I put in Christmas or Halloween. They do seem to come up, so I thought I'd give it a go. I'd give it a go. So yeah, they're lovely, but very, very fiddly. But yeah, that's 2 done now, and then I've got that one as well. So yeah, so I have sent some of the dies, not the dies, the cuts, the die cuts, the paper die cuts out to a couple of people who are having Halloween giveaways and are asking for Halloween goodies. As I say, I haven't got an awful lot of Halloween stash, but I've sent out the die cuts. There's 4 of them for each lantern, as you can see. So I might come back with some black glitter on the roof there, just to give it a bit more sort of oomph to it. Okay guys, well I hope you liked that, and if you want to get one of those dies, hopefully you've got some hints and suggestions. I'm going to have to hold that a bit longer. Some hints and suggestions as to how to do it. Yeah, so great fun, fiddly as anything. But yeah, I think they're quite cute actually. But will I be buying some more? Probably not. Is my honest answer. Unless they do them in a bigger size so that they're a bit less fiddly. All right, guys, I'll speak to you soon. Looks like I'm going to be holding this for another 5 or 6 minutes. So I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.